Now, to try and discover SQL injections, you need to browse through your target and try to break each page. So whenever you see a text box or a parameter on this form, for example, page.php, then something is equal to something, try to inject stuff here. So try to use a single quote, try to use an and, or the order by statement to break the page and make it look different. So I'm going to show you here an example. And I'm going to go into the login page first, right here. And it's asking me to log in. Now I've actually registered with my own name, so you can just go in here and register. I have a username called Zaid and a password with 123456. So first I'm going to log in just to show you. So my username is Zaid and my password is 123456. And now I'm logged in as Zaid and my signature was AA. It's just nothing really, just like as a test. So I'm going to log out and we're back at the login page. Right here we have the page, so you can try to inject in that, but we'll get into that later. So at the moment we're having an example of injecting into text boxes. So you can try to inject into the name and into the password. So I'm gonna put my name as Zaid and I'm gonna put a single quote, so I'm putting this sign into my password. So let's see if we can break it. And as you can see now, there is an error being displayed to us, and it doesn't look like a normal error. It looks like it's a database error. And usually you would be very lucky if you get an error like this. Now usually the error won't be as informative as this. Sometimes you'll just see that the page is not acting as you expected. Sometimes it'll just be a page that does not look as it should. For example, if it's a news page, maybe it'll have the article missing, or if it's a blog, it'll have one of the posts missing or different kind of posts. So you need to keep an eye on what's changing. In this example, we are actually getting a really nice error. It's telling us which file it has, and it's telling us that there's an error in the statement, and the error near the quotation mark that we added. And it also tells us the statement that's being executed. This is really good for learning, because now we can see what's the statement that the system is trying to run. And the system is trying to do a select star, so it's trying to select everything from accounts, where the username is equal to Zaid, and the password is equal to a single quote. And note that the system, the web application, is already adding quotes around the name. So when I said Zaid, it added Zaid between two quotes, and it added the single quote that I added between another two quotes. So that's why we had 3 quotes right here. So from this it's like 70% that the target website has an SQL injection. We're still not sure if it can execute what we want it to do. So can I actually inject code and get it to be executed? Let's see if we can do that. So the username is going to be Zaid again. And what I'm going to do with the password, I'm going to put my password. So I'm going to put 123456. And then I'm closing it. So I'll tell you why I'm closing it, because the current statement in the system is it's select star from to Zaid and is equal to, and it's going to open a single quote by itself. So let's call this as password. So we're treating this as a variable, and it takes in whatever I put in here, whatever I'm gonna put in this box, and it's gonna insert it instead of the S password, which is a variable. So I'm giving you an idea, so you need to be able to imagine this happening. So it's taking whatever I put in there and it's gonna put it between 2 single quotes, and it's gonna be inserted in there and executed on the system. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna put 123456 and I'm gonna add the quote myself. So what I'm gonna do right now, the code is gonna be like this. So it's gonna select this and password is equal to that, and I have 2 quotes right now. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna say and 1 is equal to 1. So 1 is equal to 1, and I'm just trying to see if it's going to execute what I want it to do. So my statement right now is It's going to be select star from accounts where username is equal to Zaid and password is equal to 123456. And note, I'm going to be inserting this myself. And 1 is equal to 1. One problem that the system is going to complain about is that we have an extra quote here, because I'm going to be inserting this myself in the text box. So it's going to be complaining about this. It's going to say this is an open quote and it's never has been closed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a comment. And when you add a comment, basically everything that comes in after the comment will not be executed. I'm going to use the hash as the comment. So anything that comes in after the hash, the system is going to ignore. So what I'm going to inject now is going to be this, and 1 is equal to 1, and this. So as I said, usually what you have here, you have /$password, or depending on what the programmer called it, but we're just imagining this. And I'm going to be inserting this inside. So when you do that and you insert it inside, this is what the code is going to look like. So it's going to look like the right username, the right password, and 1 is equal to 1, which is true. And then it's going to ignore this quote right here. So if we paste this, we should be able to log in. It should allow me to log in. And perfect, we were able to log in, and username is Zaid. So far we haven't done anything, but this kind of shows us that is it running our code? Let's try a different thing now. Let's try to add a false statement. So what we did 1 equal 1, and that was correct, and it executed what we wanted. Let's try 1 equals 2, and this is false. So I have the right password, and I have the right username, but I added and 1 is equal to 2. And this should be wrong because it's false. 1 is not equal to 2, and I'm using an and, so everything has to be true. So it should give me an error, even though I'm going to put the right username, and I'm going to put the right password. So I'm putting 123456, and 1 is equal to 2. So it's going to be like, oh, this is wrong. And as you can see, it's giving me an authentication error, bad username or password, even though I'm given the right password and the right username. So this confirms that this website is actually injecting anything we want in the password. So we can use the password field to inject SQL code. And it's always going to be on this form. So we're going to put a password, and you're going to put your code here. So I'm just going to put it in capital code here, because we're going to put any password, close the quote, and then put the code that we want to execute on the system right here, and it's going to be executed on the target system.